communityhealthwmt.org.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
What's up, Montana? Welcome in. 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're tuning in to Nuanez Now, courtside at the Big Sky Conference basketball tournament here in Boise, Idaho. I'm Coulter Nuanez. Appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate the guys back in Missoula for getting me all set up. We got this crazy Ozbot AI camera. So here we are. I say we are courtside. We're actually on our perch up on the third floor, which is a wonderful perch to watch basketball from. They always set us up here at the Idaho Central Arena. And happy to be here with you. We are in the midst of an unbelievable game here between Montana State and Idaho for the Big Sky Tournament Championship on the women's side. If you are one of those people that think that you don't like women's basketball, well, if you like basketball and you think you don't like women's basketball, you're just wrong. This game is amazing with the pace and the physicality and the competitiveness. I would love to know, like, what's the conditioning routines for these two teams, because they are absolutely flying up and down the court. An unbelievably entertaining first half. Idaho closed out the first half with a defensive stop that then led to a bucket in transition, and then they got a block shot at the buzzer to take a 36-31 lead into the break. But 4 straight for Montana State out of the break, and it's a 1-point game with 8 minutes, 27 seconds to go here in the third quarter. So we'll keep you up to date with what's going down right here in front of us. We'll have a full women's recap for you by the time today's show is finished. This game tipped at 3 p.m., so should be in the books by the time we are off the air at 6 p.m. I thought yesterday's game was only going to take about an hour and 45 or 2 hours, and instead it took almost 3 because it went to overtime between Montana State and Eastern Washington. But we were still able to get it in yesterday during the show. So we will try to do that here again today as Addison Harris steps into a transition 3 tie ball game. Awesome. If you're not watching, you should be. Turn on ESPN Plus or just keep it here, and we'll keep you apprised of everything that's going down. It's been an awesome week in Boise so far. This is an awesome time of year. I love tournament basketball. The state tournaments around the state, they get started today, this afternoon, with the Class C boys basketball tournament in Missoula. I'll give you an update on that here in just a little while. AA in Billings, A in Great Falls, and B in Bozeman all get started tomorrow. So we'll have plenty of reaction from those games for you once I get back to Missoula. We will have a full show for you tomorrow and Friday as well, with plenty of high school stuff to catch up on, plus reactions from what goes down tonight. The men's championship, it features, like it almost always does over the last 12 years, the Montana Grizzlies. They will take on the Idaho Vandals. I'd like to say the 4th-seeded Grizz versus the 7th-seeded Vandals is a totally unlikely championship game, but that's not, I mean, what is unlikely in this year's Big Sky Conference? I thought there was very little separation between number 1 Portland State all the way down through number 7 Idaho. Now that coming into this tournament, I thought maybe 5 or 6 teams could win it. I actually didn't think Weber State was one of those teams. I probably didn't think Idaho was either, but I did think that in order, I thought the favorites coming into this tournament were Eastern Washington, Northern Colorado, Montana, and then Montana State, because they were so shorthanded. And then even though the Vikings, Portland State was the number 1 seed, I thought they were probably the 4th or 5th team in terms of maybe who could win it, just because of the style they play and how that contrasts with the other styles and the other coaches in this conference as well. But that's the story here. Montana, led by Travis DeCuire, into the championship game for the 7th time in the last 11 tournaments. They are gunning for their 14th overall NCAA tournament bid, including their 4th under Coach DeCuire. So we will get through what went down late night last night. The Grizz tipped at 7:30, and then Idaho and Eastern Washington did not tip till 9:30. But we will play some sound bites for you out of Grizz camp, out of Portland State camp, and we'll also hear from the Idaho side of things as well. Alex Pribble, Colton Mitchell, they both gave some good sound bites in the post game last night as well, and that'll help us preview the men's championship, which isn't until 9:45 tonight. Intermittently, though, we have plenty more updates for you. Jeff Safford's got our latest Class C spotlight. The girls portion of the Class C tournament begins in Missoula tomorrow. He caught up with the Chester Joplin Inverness girls basketball team. CJI plays at 1:30 tomorrow, so we figure we better play this one for you here today, just depending on how that one might go. But we've covered a lot of Class C basketball this year. Really, really appreciate Jeff Safford for his efforts on that. We basically made him the Class C beat reporter. I knew he'd do a heck of a job because he lived up on the High Line for a couple years, so I knew he knew those people and knew those communities, and it's been great. It's been awesome highlighting the Class C towns. I know it's helped us really spread the message here at Nuanez Now and get people involved in this show from communities all over the state of Montana. And it's cool having the Class C tournament here in Missoula. So we'll hear from the CJI girls here about 4:45. We'll also hear again from Travis DeCuire and Money Williams from Montana, Jace Coburn and Terry Miller from Portland State, Alex Pribble and Colton Mitchell from Idaho. And that's all here just in hour number 1. Hour number 2. Ryan Tutel checks in. We'll talk everything from Bam Adebayo's completely unlikely but completely stratospheric 83-point game yesterday in the NBA. We will also talk to Ryan about Max Crosby and the deal that didn't happen with the Baltimore Ravens. And we will also talk about the Grizz and how the Grizz have gotten to this point and what has them in the championship yet again. So looking forward to an elongated ESPN Roundtable with Ryan, and we'll keep you up to date with what's going on here in Boise. So jam-packed show for you, like it always is. We appreciate you for hanging. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Our tournament takeover, probably presented in part by Blackfoot Communications. A week from tomorrow, we will be setting up a Blackfoot Communications Customer Appreciation Party at the press box, which will also double as a watch party for the NCAA tournament. So the games get started next Thursday. I think the first game tips at 9:57 a.m., so let's just call it 10 o'clock. I'll be down there posted up at the press box from stem to stern. I'm going to watch all the games down there. We will be hanging out. We will be providing some food and some drinks for anybody that shows up. And so please come hang out with us on behalf of Blackfoot Communications next Thursday at the press box. Then Friday, myself and the crew from Blackfoot going across the Great Divide to Bozeman. We'll do the same thing at the Rockin' R Bar. So the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament, we'll have you covered and have some fun treats for you. We'll have plenty of food and drinks and a whole bunch of fun watching the games. Then we'll have live Nuanez Now between 4 and 6, and we couldn't do it without our great friends at Blackfoot Communications. Blackfoot Communications, more than 70 years of helping people, businesses, and communities connect. If you'd like to find out how Blackfoot can improve your connection to the communities in Missoula and in Bozeman, visit blackfoot.com. Here in Missoula, or here, excuse me, here in Missoula, here in Boise, here we are. A great game playing out. Idaho, though, has gone on a little bit of a spurt here, and Montana State takes a timeout. The Vandals on an 8-0 run, and they have an 8-point lead, 46-38, midway through the third quarter. Idaho has done a masterful job of averting Montana State's press. They do have 11 turnovers, but that's a minuscule number compared to what the Bobcats usually give up. Usually, Montana State's forcing over 26 turnovers a game. They are one of the top teams in terms of forced turnovers in the entire country. So to be able to sort of be less than that, half of that, and to have 12 assists on 20 made baskets, pretty darn good. Idaho shooting 54%. Montana State struggling offensively. They're shooting just 35%. So we'll keep you in the loop of what's going down here. A couple news briefs from around Montana. We got a national champion. How about this? Montana State has skiing. Montana doesn't. Montana has soccer and softball. Bobcats have both alpine and Nordic skiing. That's a Title IX thing that they do to sort of offset the football scholarship numbers. But the fact that Montana State has skiing is pretty cool, and then the fact that they are really good at it. I mean, it's not crazy. You'd assume a town like Bozeman, where you got two world-class ski hills, you could have pretty good skiers, but easier said than done. Sort of tough for Montana State because they were supposed to host nationals this year. They did not get a chance to do that because there wasn't enough snow. It was particularly the Nordic part of the national championship that eluded them. So they moved it to Utah, but the national championship ski races and pursuits have been happening the last couple days, and Justine LaMontagne, a giant slalom skier from MSU, she wins the national championship. This is the second national championship for Montana State in skiing. The last one came back in 2017. That's 58 total national champions across all the variety of sports at Montana State in their history. That includes a whole bunch of rodeo cowboys and cowgirls, but just the second woman skier, so pretty darn cool. We will catch up with Justine LaMontagne next week, but that's certainly a news brief worth noting out of the Montana State side of things. Another news brief from high school hoops. Butte High had a good year this year in boys basketball, but then they got bounced at home in the play-in game for the second year in a row. So there was no state tournament bid for Hudson Ledke in either his junior or his senior year. He had a great career other than that, but he's been playing for his dad, Matt Ledke, who's a former great basketball player from Ronan, 3-on-3 legend in Montana, had a good career at Montana Western during his college days. Matt's been the head coach there at Butte High since before Hudson was even in high school. He'd been there for 7 years, but he announced that he's stepping down as the head coach. And that's not uncommon. We see this a lot when dad coaches his kid and then his kid graduates. You kind of just need a break. So I always say, no matter what level of success you had as a high school coach, thank you. Success is determined by a lot of different things, but I think a lot of the things that determine success are out of high school coaches' control. So, if you're giving your time, you're giving to your community, you're running a good program, you're helping kids, better themselves and teaching them, to endure the things that you're supposed to learn from sports. Great job by you. I've always loved Coach Ledke. I played 3-on-3s and open gym with him a whole bunch back in our younger days. And, to me, he's a legend in my mind in terms of his abilities on the 3-on-3 court. More on that in a while because we're working on a documentary on 3-on-3 basketball in Montana. But Matt Ledke out as the head coach of Butte. But hopefully he finds some fun things to bide his time because he's certainly a guy that's been a fixture in the basketball world at a variety of different levels across the state of Montana. Class C boys tournament is underway. The first game between Scobie and Winnett Grass Range. Scobie was they were the last undefeated team left in Class C. They lost in the semifinals of their divisional tournament. They lost in the championship of their divisional tournament to Luster Christian. Luster Christian had gotten swept in the regular season, but then they beat Scobie in the championship to book their ticket to state with authority. And Scobie getting back at it in fine fashion. They're up 52-30 right now, late in the third quarter. So it looks like Scobie remains in the hunt to be a state champion. They've had some devastating ways that their seasons have gone, right? Like last year they were undefeated until the semis, and they lost a narrow one to Box Elder. This year undefeated until the divisional championship, lose a narrow one to Luster Christian. I thought Scobie was one of the best teams in Montana, period. Boys or girls all year long. So just for them to be on the state championship track, that's pretty cool. They're on the opposite side of the bracket of both Luster Christian and Manhattan Christian. So that could be something to look forward to. But for now, it looks like they probably will move on, but they got to hold on. They're up 22 points headed into the fourth quarter. Here in Boise, Montana State went on a little spurt. Jamison Phillip with a couple jumpers, but Idaho clinging to a 6-point lead, 48-42. 2 minutes and change to go here in the third quarter. Tournament takeover, it's probably presented in part by Palmer's Drug. What do Missoulians do best? They support their local stores. Come support your local pharmacy at Palmer's Drug. Palmer's Drug is a retail and compounding pharmacy that is the alternative to big box chain pharmacies. You're going to expect shorter wait times, free medication shipping, and friendly service at Palmer's Drug. They're located at 918 Southwest Higgins in Missoula. Palmer's Drug, the most convenient way to get your prescriptions in the Garden City. Come in and discover how Palmer's Drug can serve your pharmacy needs. Last night, fun games. Montana raced all the way out to a 19-point advantage against Portland State. Then they had to hang on, but they did hang on, and I think that there's a defining factor there, right? I do think that Montana, the way that it's been sort of a trend that they jump out to big leads and then they have to hang on. But that's basketball, and that's also the way Travis DeCuire coaches. At the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding. The guy's in the championship game of this tournament for the 7th time in 11 years. So he knows how to get it done. He's had as much success at neutral site tournaments as any coach the Big Sky has seen since we went to the neutral site era. And right now, his team's playing the best defense they played all year long, and their best player, Money Williams, has been absolutely rolling. He was an absolute freight train on Monday night, going for 40 against Northern Colorado. He was again a freight train last night, getting downhill on everybody. Scored the first 13 points of the game. He finishes with 32, and Montana emerges with a 75-72 win over Portland State. Grizz sweep the season series against the top-seeded Vikings, and they're into the championship game. Again, second year in a row and 7th time in 11 tournaments under Travis DeCuire. Before we play the Grizz, we'll keep it here just because there's only about 50 seconds left here in this game, in this third quarter. Idaho up 50-44. Montana State got a stop, but then Breanne Bailey, who was the hero of yesterday, she has a turnover. So Montana State not able to capitalize. This Vandals team has been an absolute revelation. Since they got the doors blown off them in Bozeman, they haven't lost since. They lost 99-66, which is an incredibly lopsided loss for a team that only loses one conference game, right? Like, when's the last time you heard of a team going 17-1 in conference and their one loss was by 30-plus points? Well, that was an eye-opening moment for Idaho because that's the last time that they lost. They haven't lost since then. They've won 17 games in a row. They're up to 28 wins. First of all, a 17-game winning streak is the longest in program history by a full 2 games already, but they also have 28 wins overall. If they're able to win in this one here today, that'll be a program record for Idaho. For Montana State, they're up to 25 wins. This is the 4th 25-win season under Tricia Binford. They're coming off a 30-win year last year. So to go 30 wins, lose 8 players, graduate a whole bunch, have a couple players leave in the transfer portal, and still come back without a senior on your roster and run it back for a 25-win season. Pretty dang impressive for Coach Binford's squad, but they certainly want to get this one done and head back to the NCAA tournament for the 4th time in her decorated 22-year tender. Idaho just converted a couple free throws, and that puts them up 8. That's getting close to, if not the biggest lead of the game, and then Idaho forces a turnover. Barbosa's on the ground right now, fighting for it. Sounds like jump ball possession Idaho. So Idaho up 52-44 with 26.5 seconds left in the third quarter. Let's get into this Grizz sound so we can get through that, and then I'll give you an update on the other side. Here is Travis DeCuire, Money Williams, and Brooklyn Hicks following Montana's 75-72 win late last night in Boise, Idaho. This is Nuanez Now, live from Idaho Central Arena.
One thing about the Grizz, we like to keep it interesting. We have a hungry group, though, and you know, the guys scrapped and made the plays they need to make when they need to make them to win the ball game. We set the tone defensively. You know, holding them 25% in the first half is incredible. And when you hold teams under 40, I keep saying that, you typically win regardless to how things go. And holding them for 31% for the game. We've set the tone, and our defense is incredible right now. If we can continue, we'll have an opportunity to cut down nets. But we got a lot of work to do between now and tomorrow night.
Coach 40 last night, 32 tonight. It wasn't the only reason you won the game, but what can you say about just what Money did for the second night in a row?
Money was money. I think the biggest thing is he's gotten into rhythm early in games. He set the tone with his aggression, his pace, and then the rest follow. And so that's what leadership looks like. I think a lot of people think leadership is always telling people what to do, and sometimes you have some captains that communicate, but a true leader goes out and does his job, and then everyone else else kind of falls in. And we had a lot of guys do their jobs tonight, but Money was special once again.
Trav, you mentioned the defense. What was the key to that, especially the first 3 quarters of that game? He held them totally in check.
Good defenses take away whatever strength the offense has, right? And Portland State, they live in the paint. It's drives, it's ball screens, it's post-ups, but they're just trying to get as close to the rim as possible. And you got to minimize their ability to get in the paint. And we didn't do a good job of that down the stretch, which is why they got close. But we built a large enough cushion to hold on. But at the end of the day, we've done that for 3 consecutive games with them, which is why we were able to win all 3.
Brooklyn, you swept the top team in the league. So what did that take, and what did it take tonight to finish that game off?
For sure. Full team effort, scouts, morning practices, whatever it is. But it didn't just start yesterday. This is a build-up through the year to get those 3 wins against the number 1 team.
Travis, you mentioned defense and being able to limit them, but it seems like you guys shoot pretty well in this building and have for the last few years. So what's gone into that?
We have a good shooting team. We're selective with the shots we take. Brooklyn Hicks is an example. We were in practice last week, and I asked him why he thought his percentages were so much higher this year than they were his previous 2 years at UNLV. And I believe in shot selection. I believe in working to get shots that you can make at a high percentage. Not just shots you can make, right, but shots that you can make at a high percentage. And we're very selective with the shots we take. And when we work to get those shots for each other, then we shoot well. And tonight, the ball moved, and Brooklyn got the ball in the spots where he's great. And he shot an incredible percentage, but that's what's happened for us as a team. When we share the ball, we move the ball, we execute offense, we'll get high percentage shots.
Travis, your decision to play Chase Henderson late, and your confidence in him to knock down some really clutch free throws down the clutch there.
Yeah, 3 years ago we got to the championship game breaking Portland State's press. And Chase Henderson came off the bench and got open and broke the press and made free throws. And I knew he had that in him, and speed kills. And for us, we needed some speed. They're a very fast team, which made it hard for us to get open. So we put our fastest guy in the game that has a lot of confidence with getting up the floor and not afraid to step to the free throw line and shoot free throws.
Money, did you wake up again feeling like you were going to have another big day?
Pretty much. I woke up and was like, we got to get this dub. And to be honest, we match up well with Portland State. Have a lot of confidence in my guys. And it just goes back to having a new team. Just wanting them to have the best experience ever. We have 2 seniors that are done after this, and I just want to do it for them, and that's why I play.
Money, one of your former assistant coaches, DJ Broom, seems to be following you guys still and tweeting out. He's kind of nicknamed you March Money. Just kind of curious what you think about that nickname and why you seem to be playing so well and in this arena and in the Big Sky tournament. I mean, making the all-tournament team last year too.
DJ is my guy. March Money, I don't know about that. We might have to work on that nickname, but I love DJ. It just goes back to the guys that we have, buying into the culture, and just going out there and competing. There's really nothing like extra or surprising. It's very simple. Just go out there and compete and play for one another.
And then Travis, can you talk about just the importance of having a scorer like Money specifically in a tournament setting over the course of 3 days, and what kind of an X factor that can be?
It's huge to have someone that can settle the offense, create for themselves, and create for others. That's, you need every good team offensively needs that, and we've been fortunate to have a few. But what he's doing right now is special, and he's been capable. Like I say, I'm very selective with shots we take. I believe in balance. And so I've got a lot of guys on our team that I feel can contribute offensively, and you want to be able to rely on those guys on nights that Money's not cooking. And so we've worked on that balance all year, but this is the time of year where you turn guys loose.
Money, when you missed the free throw, the one-on-one down the stretch there, what was going through your head to not get down on yourself, knowing that you're probably going to have an opportunity to make up for it?
I definitely didn't show it, but it really bugged me because it's in the name. It's free throws. It's free. And for me to miss it in a tight game like that, it was very frustrating. But, like, it's not all about me. And next play, next possession, and that's what I did.
You missed 2 tonight. You might have to run back to the hotel.
Brooklyn, you guys have been in tight games late with Portland State and pulled it out all 3 times. Just mentally, emotionally, how are you guys handled it today, and what did you learn from the previous games against them that might have helped you guys close it out?
For sure, it's a full team effort, so just staying connected a full 40 minutes, and then especially in those the last medias, especially just staying as a group and connected and executing what he draws up.
Trev, what's the next, checking my clock, what's the next 24 hours look like? Because you're tipped this game about 23 and a half hours from now tomorrow. So what's that look like for your team?
The rest of the team is already back, starting treatment and taking care of their bodies and trying to, work towards getting as fresh as possible tomorrow. These guys will be right behind them. But really, the next 24 hours, 12 hours, these guys got to get rest, fluid, and take care of their body. And then we'll get up in the morning and start over with whoever our opponent is. But the most important thing is to be fresh physically. And then the mentality of competing, that's going to turn on its championship.
Got to have the mentality of competing to win a championship. Travis DeCuire, Money Williams, Brooklyn Hicks following last night's 75-72 win over Portland State. Travis DeCuire, when he gave that press conference, did not know who he was going to play. Well, then Idaho rose up and won 81-68 against Eastern Washington. I don't know if that's good fortune or not for the Grizz. Eastern Washington swept Montana this year. Montana swept Idaho this year. But the old adage goes that it's really hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. So maybe Montana would have had an advantage playing Eastern for a 3rd time. I'm not sure. They already proved they could beat Portland State twice and then a 3rd time in this tournament. So we'll see. But certainly it was a couple good games when Montana and Idaho played each other. But Montana came out victorious in each of those. The men's championship tips this evening at 9:45. So pray for us. See if we can make it and stay up that late. I'm already on my 4th cup of coffee. I feel like Tommy and Hayden just guzzling it down here at Idaho Central Arena. 8 minutes to go in the women's championship. Idaho still up 9 points. They're really making it tough on Montana State. Defensively, Montana State not shooting the ball well at all. They're shooting 34% from the floor, just 7 of 21 from 3. Vandals on the other side, they're shooting 50% from the floor, 43% from 3. So that is the tale of the tape right now. Decent job taking care of the ball as well. They have 15 turnovers, but Montana State forces more than 26 turnovers per game. That is a top 5 mark in college basketball. Take a break, come back. We will hear from on the other side Chase Coburn from Portland State and Alex Cribble from Idaho as our men's coverage continues with the women's championship game winding down. That's next. Our tournament takeover, probably presented in part by Blackfoot Communications, continues right after this. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 29 ESPN Radio.
Are you paying too much for your trash removal? If you're paying over $34 per month for trash and over $25 per month for recycling, you are paying too much. Grizzly Disposal offers reliable and affordable trash and recycling collection with the best customer service in town. It's easy to change. Just call 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Right now, when everything is overpriced, trash and recycling shouldn't be. Grizzly Disposal and recycling.
Buying a car shouldn't be an adventure, and at Missoula Chevrolet, it's not. Their team isn't paid on commission, so there's no pressure. Just honest help finding the right vehicle for you. You'll get real cash value for your trade, and the price you see, that's the price you pay. No back and forth, no guessing, no trail of fine print, just one low price, plain and simple always. So if you're ready for a smoother ride, on or off the road, head to Missoula Chevrolet and shop hundreds of vehicles in stock. Together, let's drive.
Medicare loses $60 million in Montana each year, $60 billion nationally. Medicare processes 4.5 million claims a day. They don't know who your doctor is, but you do. Mistakes can happen. Read your Medicare statements and call Montana Senior Medicare Patrol if you see anything unexpected. 1-800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
It's tournament time. Buzzer beaters, underdog stories, and the best deals at Bob Ward's. Get off the couch and into the game at Montana's oldest sporting goods retailer. Baseball gloves, bats and cleats, soccer balls, shin guards, and training gear. Whether you're cutting down nets or cutting across the outfield, Bob Ward's has the gear you need. Discounts on top name brands across every department. Savings in camping, fishing, and everything outdoors. Don't miss your shot. Shop Bob Ward's, sports and outdoors, Montana style.
You might be thinking, what's the big deal about a kids menu? Well, once you have kids, you know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to find kid-friendly meals at affordable prices. At Paradise Falls, the kids menu is not only diverse, it's a total steal. For some of the cheapest prices in town, you can get hamburgers, mac and cheese, and other kid favorites for super low prices. Paradise Falls is a family-friendly restaurant open 7 days a week. Come enjoy a meal with your kiddos in Paradise at Paradise Falls, 3621 Brook Street, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Attention Missoula and Ravalli County nonprofits. Registration is now open for the Missoula and Bitterroot Gives, a 26-hour online celebration of our nonprofit community hosted by Missoula Community Foundation. This is an opportunity to raise funds and awareness for your organization through an online platform that engage your supporters and the entire community. Participating nonprofits can win matching dollars, prizes, and more during the Day of Giving on April 30th and May 1st. Register your Missoula and Ravalli County nonprofit today at missoulagives.org.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
For the 14th time in the last 16 years, a team from Montana will play for the championship at the Big Sky Tournament. And just like last year, the Treasure State has a chance to send both teams to the big dance. Hello, I'm Jeff Safford. The Montana State women's basketball team snatched victory Tuesday in an overtime thriller. The Bobcats blew a 19-point lead and trailed by 3 with 11 seconds to upstart Eastern Washington. But freshman Breanne Bailey buried a rainbow 3 from 25 feet out to tie the game and force OT. In the extra period, Big Sky MVP Taylor Chirick took over, scoring 8 of her 26 to lift the second-seeded Bobcats to a 79-77 win over the Eagles. Montana State plays top-seeded Idaho at 3 p.m. today in Boise. The Grizz men's team are into the championship of the Big Sky Tournament for the 7th time in the last 11 years under head coach Travis DeCure. Montana also built a sizable lead, holding a 51-39 advantage with 9:23 left. But Portland State battled back down the stretch, cutting the lead to single digits. Montana emerged with a 75-72 win. The 4th-seeded Grizzlies advanced to take on Idaho after the Vandals beat Eastern Washington 81-68 late Tuesday night. Montana is in the mix for its 14th NCAA tournament berth, including its 4th under Coach DeCure. The Grizz and Vandals tip at 9:45 tonight.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
As always, the Idaho Pet Band rocking here at Idaho Central Arena. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. The Idaho women's basketball team is also rocking. They're in full control right now in the Big Sky Conference Women's Championship, leading 55-44 over Montana State. Just 6 minutes and 38 seconds to go. Bobcats got to find something here because they are certainly running out of time. We will keep you apprised of what's going on here. Well, let's keep on talking about the men's tournament. Last night, the Grizz with a huge win over Portland State. For the Vikings, though, a bummer because they were the number 1 seed. This is now the 4th year in a row the number 1 seed has lost in this tournament. Last time the number 1 seed won it was when Danny Sprinkle took the Montana State Bobcats to the NCAA tournament for the first time in almost 3 decades. But hard luck for Portland State. Multiple things went into it. First of all, the Grizz played great. Second of all, Terry Miller, the Big Sky MVP, was certainly hobbled in this game. and pretty much down the stretch of the season. And Keon Kenzie, the excellent wingman for the Vikings, he also did not play in this game. So all those things, plus the Grizz playing great, and Money Williams having 32 points, contributed. Here is Portland State following their season-ending loss last night in Boise.
Yeah, I mean, credit Montana. You know, they played a good game. They had a good defensive game plan. You know, I'm proud of our team for not giving up. We had a chance. We were down, 19, 15:50 to go. Started battling back. Tried to do everything possible to get back in the game. Credit to our players for not giving up. Like, that's part of our culture, is that we're never going to give up. And I'm really proud of our team for being able to fight back and claw back in that game. Obviously, losing sucks. But ultimately, you know, I took a couple minutes downstairs in the locker room to reflect on all the positive things that this team has done this season. I mean, we won a regular season championship for the first time since 2008. It's probably one of my most favorite teams I've ever coached. Definitely the most resilient group I've ever coached. And, you know, honestly, I hope they made all the Portland State Vikings proud, current and former. Can't say enough about our players and everything that they gave to this program, everything that they gave to the city, our school. And I couldn't be more proud to be their coach. I wish we would have come up with a win tonight, and that's how it goes sometimes. But honestly, like, I love our players. They're awesome to coach. There's never been a day where I've walked in and haven't wanted to coach them. And that's every single player on this team. They're great people. You know, and I hope they learn some things and are successful people after this, because, you know, I know, you know, as coaches, we lose sight of that sometimes, and it's not all about wins and losses. And these two guys right here really showed a lot of leadership this year on TV. They did a great job. We're a really good team. I mean, I still believe that, and we just came up short tonight.
Coach, you had a shot to tie it at the end. Can you just walk us through the final possession? Was that what you drew up to get that shot? What were the second, third options?
Yeah, we had a couple different options going on that play. You know, and the first one was open. You know, and so we had a couple other options too we were going to look at, but the first one was open. So, you know, to be in a situation when you're down by 19, to have a chance to tie the game with a couple seconds left is pretty crazy. So, you know, that's basketball. That's sports, right? Like, you know, so, yeah.
Jason, I know you talked about the fight of your team all year long. So what did it take to come back from down 19? How are you guys able to cut the deficit all the way to just one?
I think everything about what our identity is as a program, spirit, toughness, passion, heart. We're never going to give up. You know, and you know, I never had a sense that we were ever going to give up. You know, we didn't, in the second half, we didn't play afraid to fail. You know, there's a lot of, you know, no matter how you phrase it, there's a lot of pressure being the number one seed in the regular season champs, right? And so in the second half, I felt like we didn't play afraid to fail. You know, and I told him in a timeout that, like, that's what heroes are made of. You know, when you go out there and just, you know, let it rip. And that's what we did in the last 15 minutes or whenever the comeback started. I don't even remember, but, you know, and we almost did something really heroic. So, yeah.
Still remains up, but Montana State is trying to claw their way back in. Idaho men will play for the Big Sky Championship tonight. I expect the fact that there's Idaho women in the championship right now and Idaho men in the chamber tonight to mean there's going to be a good crowd on hand. Hope that's the case. That game tips at 9:45 between Montana and Idaho with a bid to the NCAA tournament on the line. Here is Alex Pribble, the head coach of the Idaho Vandals, as well as a couple of his players from last night.
Yeah, listen, I've said this a couple times, and this day, I mean it 100%. What a great day to be a Vandal, right? What our women's team did earlier today was so special, and what our boys were able to put together tonight, just a really great time to be a Vandal. This was the vision when we took over the program. You know, we wanted to put ourselves in a position where we were competing for championships, and just could not be more proud of the effort and the togetherness that the guys showed tonight. I think it's been a unique year, you know, and in some ways it's been a really challenging year because from the start of our time together, I felt like this is a really special group. Felt like they had all the pieces, all the character. The culture was in a great place. Felt like we were really just a good team, but there were some ups and downs throughout the season. Part of that was due to injuries. Part of that was just due to not catching our rhythm. But this was the team that we envisioned. And so for it to come together at the right time of year, just really, really excited. Proud of our players, proud of our coaching staff, and just the whole Idaho Vandal community.
Colton, got a question for you. You at the end of the regular season, you sat out with your back injury. You played 37 minutes tonight, had 26 points. You feeling fully healthy now? And what really added to your offensive performance?
I wouldn't say I'm feeling full healthy, but we can go with that. Yeah, today was good offensively. Got some rhythm, especially from last game. I wasn't really getting any rhythm, so today I really want to try to find my rhythm early. And my teammates did a great job with being able to get me open. I felt like today I had a lot of open shots, and so yeah, it helped me out a lot.
Another question for you, Colton. You know, the final few seconds you're dribbling now, you're hyping up the crowd. Obviously, you know, pro Idaho crowd. As someone from Idaho, you know, to reach this championship game and have this season you've had so far, just how much extra special is it, I guess, to, you know, accomplish something like this on home soil?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, we got the best fans. You can see it here. We usually got the most people. They're the loudest. So it's really special to be able to do it for them, and, you know, hopefully we're able to get it done tomorrow.
Coach, you mentioned that this being the team coming together at the right time. What's that taken? Like, how have you guys gotten to this point?
Yeah, honestly, it's taken a lot of resilience and a lot of trust. Trust from our players in the process, trust from our coaching staff. You know, after every game, win or lose, we're going to evaluate, we're going to reflect, and we're going to take a look at our process. That's just kind of the way we do things. And when you feel like you're doing the right things, but the outcome's not there, right, it takes a lot of trust to still have the buy-in, still have the belief, and just stay with it, stay in the course. And I think this is a very resilient group. They trusted the process, and I think it just came together at the right time for us. You know, obviously we still have some guys who have been out with season-ending injuries, but now we've had a little more consistency, a little more belief, a little more role definition, and it's clicking.
What are you guys going to have to do to, you know, Montana is giving you guys some problems.
Yeah.
You know, this season, one of the few teams to, you know, you guys aren't able to beat. Can you talk a little about, you know, what kind of problems they pose? I mean, I know both those games were kind of close, the score sheet, but, you know, what do you see you're going to have to do differently to win tomorrow?
Yeah, Montana's given us trouble. Their physicality, their toughness. Coach DeCure does a really good job, and Money Williams is, you know, an elite scorer. 40 points in the first round and 32, I think it was tonight. Just a special player. So it's going to be a challenge, but that's the way it's supposed to be, right? You're not going to get a ticket to the big dance with something easy. So it's a huge challenge. I know our guys are going to be ready for it, and they're going to leave everything they have out on the court.
Colton, I know you're from Idaho, and you play in this tournament a lot of times. I know you always have family here, so just to play so well in this tournament and to get the Vandals to the championship game, what's that mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything. Being able to have my family come to all the games this year, it's just really nice to be able to play in front of my mom and dad, and then all grandparents here, brother being here. So it's just so fun to be able to play in front of them and play in front of their fans. So yeah.
Coach, this question's for you. You kept them to 37% from the field, and they shot 3 of 20 from 3. What worked defensively, schematically, maybe execution-wise? What worked?
Yeah, it took us 3 games to get it right, but we had a really good game plan today. Credit our associate head coach, Brandon Laird, and our staff for kind of putting these guys in good positions, and then the guys just did a really, really good job locking into it. Isaiah Moses is a huge challenge, you know, and I think this night we learned that we, not getting too deep into the details, we really have to take his space. You know, you can't allow him to be comfortable, and when he comes off the ball screens and you close down the space, he's not able to be as creative and get to his shots. And so I thought our guys, Biko Johnson was unbelievable defensively tonight. Trey Blassingame, Isaiah, Colt was on him at a couple possessions fighting through the screen. So obviously it takes a team effort, but our guys really keyed in on the ball screen coverages with him. And then guarding the three-point line a lot of times comes down to personnel. You know, so for us, I think we had the right guys shooting the threes for the most part. We limited Johnny Radford, we limited Tyler Powell, some of their better three-point shooters, and that was big for us.
This is a question for both Colton and Zay. You guys are both among the 9 returners from last year's team that made it to the semifinals, and now you're here about to compete for a championship. A lot of the same guys from last year's team. What's clicked for you guys? What's changed for you guys what's different from then to now?
Shoot, I think we're just a tight group, honestly. You know, we have a lot of returners, like you said, and we all love each other off the court, so it makes it that much easier to go to war with each other each and every day now. So, you know, from the beginning of the season, we had that goal to come in and win a championship, so now we're in the right position to do it. So we've been talking about this for a long time. It's not something that, you know, just happened overnight, so that for sure.
Yeah, only other thing I'd add to that is after last season, you know, I feel like we kind of all talked with each other, and, you know, we kind of were like, let's come back and let's do something special here, because we all believe in each other. You know, we won one game here last year, but we knew it wasn't enough, so we want to come back. We believe so much in Coach Pribb to be able to put us in the right positions, and he believes in us. So that's really why we're able to be successful out there, because we're so close. We have so much trust in our coach. So, yeah.
Coach, it's not a secret. It's been a long time since this program has been to the big dance. You know, how are you handling that? Or, I mean, is this a topic of conversation with you guys as far as the history goes, or, you know, it's just another season we're going to do it? I mean, what's your, you know, how have you handled that, and what's kind of the mood of the team on this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think our guys have a better sense about the tradition of Idaho basketball than any of our previous teams. You know, it's a special situation. I'm wearing a Coach Munson patch. I've been wearing it all year, you know, and so what he represents and the special teams in 80 and 82 and the legacy that he left here, we talk about, you know, and we want to do right by him and his family. We want to do right by the Idaho Vandal basketball players who talk so highly about what it was like in the 80s, you know, and what it was like in the early 90s. You know, we won last night or 2 nights ago, and one of the first texts I got was from Orlando Lightfoot. Like, you kidding me? Like, the legendary ball player, you know? So there's a deep tradition, a deep sense of pride within the Idaho community. And I think our guys do understand that. We have a legacy wall that we're building in the locker room where anytime an alumni comes back, they come and they sign the wall. It's just a tradition that you know, means a lot to the community, and that our guys take a lot of pride in kind of, you know, getting back to that spot. Yeah.
All right, we'll make this our last one.
I just want to know Colton's perspective on that same thing, sort of representing for people that came before you and sort of trying to write your own story at Idaho.
Yeah, just being close to Idaho growing up, I watched a lot of Idaho games, always been a fan, so being able to put on the jersey is very cool, and then just learning from what Coach talks about, people coming in, he's had a lot of people come in and speak to us, tell us what we need this program to get back to, so it's been very cool to see the alumni come in and the greats of Idaho being able to come and, you know, inspire us, really.
Colton Mitchell here on Nuanez Now. He is from Lake City High School in Coeur d'Alene. We've met his parents here in Boise multiple times, and cool for an Idaho kid who grew up an Idaho fan to have 26 points last night to lift the Vandals into the Big Sky Tournament Championship for the first time on the men's side since 1993. Idaho's women trying to get back to the NCAA tournament for the first time in a little while, and the first time under Arthur Marrera. Montana State not making it easy on them, though. The Bobcats trail 58-54, 95 seconds left. 35 left in the fourth quarter, in this game with the trip to the big dance on the line. Our tournament takeover probably presented by Bob Ward Sports and Outdoors. Bob Ward Sports are spring sports officially here. We're talking soccer, baseball, softball, lacrosse. If you got an athlete in the house, you know it's go time. Before the whistle blows, make one stop at Bob Ward's. They got new releases hitting the floor right now. Fresh gloves, bats, cleats, soccer balls, training gear, everything your athlete needs to start the season strong. And the best part, you can see it all and find it all in one place. You don't have to drive all over town. Huge savings, top name brands, all under one roof. Shop Bob Ward's, Montana's oldest sporting goods retailer, and get geared up for the season in the right way. We'll check in with Class C girls basketball on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. Red's Bar is a beloved institution in downtown Missoula. Whether you want to watch a game, enjoy a cold beer, spend time with friendly faces, or simply wind down, the welcoming atmosphere and wonderful staff at Red's will make you feel right at home. Red's features 14 HD TVs and 2 full-service bars. Stop by and grab a beer with friends while you watch your favorite team play and check out the extensive collection of awesome sports memorabilia. Red's Bar in downtown Missoula, the friendliest sports bar in town.
Missoula, the best in college hoops, descends upon the press box Thursday, March 19th, with Blackfoot Communications hosting a watch party for America's favorite tournament. Big screens, big games, wall-to-wall basketball. Blackfoot Communications is your local provider of voice, internet, and managed services, proudly serving Missoula businesses every day. Join us at the press box on March 19th. To learn more about Blackfoot services, visit blackfoot.com.
Bees buzzing, flowers blooming, snow melting, and spring cleaning or updating? Liberty Electric is here for any and all of your electrical needs, no matter the season. Whether you're looking to upgrade your air conditioner for the summer, invest in a backup generator for those powerless nights due to storms, or need that lighting upgraded to LED, the professionals at Liberty Electric are ready to offer their services. Call 406-541-WIRE. That's 406-541-9473.
The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz Country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between craft beer at the Press Box. From domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between, $3 drafts between 4 and 6 Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
Imagine your child is facing a life-threatening illness, and on top of the fear, you're wondering how you'll afford the gas, the hotel, or even a meal while you travel for treatment. That's where the Jade and Fred Foundation steps in. Born from one Montana family's own journey with childhood cancer, the Jade and Fred Foundation provides direct financial assistance to Montana families whose children must travel for critical medical care. From gas and lodging to basic necessities, they help ease the burden so parents can focus on what matters most, their child. Since 2003, the Jade and Fred Foundation has helped nearly 2,000 Montana families in their hardest moments, making a difference one life at a time. But they can't do it alone. You can help today. Visit jadeandfred.org to make a tax-deductible donation, become a sponsor, or sign up to volunteer at events that support these brave kids and their families. That's JADYNFRED.org, jadeandfred.org, standing with Montana families.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Absolutely crazy how similar this is to last year's Big Sky Tournament Championship game. Last year, Montana State beat Montana on a buzzer beater. Now, it's buzzer beater situation here. We got 31 and a half seconds left, so there could be a couple more possessions here, but Idaho clinging to a 59-57 lead in the Big Sky Tournament Championship game on the women's side. Let's get into Jeff Safford's interview with Chester Jappel-Niverdis, and we'll give you an update on what goes down here right when this is done, our latest Class C Spotlight.
After a seemingly long road here, it is time. The Class C high school basketball tournament is descending upon Missoula, boys and girls, chasing a banner here in the Garden City at Dahlberg Arena. And right now, we are going to look at one of the contenders from the girls bracket, the Northern C champion CJI Chester Joplin Inverness girls squad. The Highline Hawks are headed out to Dahlberg Arena with a 22-1 record. They will open up their tournament on Thursday against West Yellowstone. The head coach of the Highline Hawks, Jordan Miller, is with us here on ESPN Missoula. Jordan, are you ready for Highway 2, Highway 87, and then eventually Highway 200? I would imagine about a 5-hour drive or so.
Yeah, it's a good trip from up here on the Highline, but we're excited to make it.
Myself, I used to work, I got my career started in sports radio in Havre at New Media Broadcasters, and so I've done the drive from Havre to Missoula before. The thing I would say, maybe think about stopping in Great Falls to get some grub. That would be my best advice.
Yes, you're taking 13 to 18-year-old girls on the road. I think Starbucks is an absolute stop everywhere we go, and of course, road snacks.
Oh, yeah, you got to have all the proper road snacks, because if you don't have the coffee, the snacks, everything else that you need for a long trek like that, I would say download some movies as well. That would be a good thing to do.
Yes, the girls always have their music super loud in the back. On the iPads watching the movies. Card games every once in a while I see get brought out, so they very well at entertaining themselves for the long road trips.
They got about, I'd say, halfway there this past week at the Northern Sea Divisional Tournament in Great Falls. They were able to get by Belt 56-45 in the title game there in Great Falls. Always a great environment at Four Seasons Arena there in the Electric City. But you were able to get through some roadblocks as well, getting through a couple of games where you trailed at the half. Was that a good primer for this state tournament?
Yes, I actually think that it was going to benefit us probably in the long run. It pushed us to kind of reconfigure at halftime, come out with a different game plan. It pushed us to kind of focus in a little bit and have to grit through some things that we necessarily hadn't had to do this season. And, Belt, Box Elder, and North Star, even them, they pushed us to be better this last tournament and to get us ready to go again for a whole other week. So it was an awesome tournament. They always do a great job there. The fans are always fabulous. The North always turns out great fans, and which we're so appreciative of. So they gave us some good environments to, get hyped and get pushed through those games.
And furthermore, the District 10C was one that you really dominated throughout the course of the regular season. Was it also good to be able to get a little bit of a push here going towards that state tournament, just facing a little bit different competition?
Oh, 100% was beneficial for us. Like I said, we were able to kind of take the 10C by hand this year. And so when we got to the divisional tournaments, I think we were, a little excited to keep going and keep just pushing through. And it was nice to have to pay attention and focus in and really push through those games. And those teams did a great job by scouting us and, doing what they had to do to push us. And I was so proud of my girls for really focusing in at halftime, making those halftime adjustments and pushing through in some tight games, listening in timeouts and things like that were really beneficial. And it gave us hope that, the next week will be okay to kind of lock in and block some thoughts out, block some fans out, focus in and get our jobs done.
Now, to get to this point, there are a lot of contributors to look at, but the driving force to your team obviously has been, if you look at it, Bryn Camerzell. She's averaging over 24 points per game and is seen as one of the top players in all of Class C girls hoops, even getting some buzz around the Division I ranks. She averaged over 23 a game at the divisional tournament, including a highlight contest against North Star, scoring 31. For folks in Missoula that haven't seen her play in person, what should folks expect to see from her game?
Bryn Camerzell is just a great kid. And like you said, is she averaging 24 points? Absolutely. Dropped a couple 30 bombs for us this year. Big helps. But what people don't see from Bryn is the quiet stuff, the leadership that she brings to the team, the calmness she brings to the team, and just the good, fun, bubbly personality that she also brings. And she's a great all-around player. She works her butt off in the gym night in and night out. Weekends here, she gets a break. She's in the gym. She's working hard. She wants this. She's hungry, and she makes those kids around her also want it. Also, be a little hungry for more and not to be, we've used the word, don't be satisfied all year. Yes, we won this week. Don't be satisfied. We got to win again. And Bryn's been a big push to that. She wants more. She wants to keep pushing and keep getting more for not just herself, but as her team as well around her. And she's a fun kid to have in the locker room. She's a fun kid to have on the bus. She keeps practices light, but she also, locks down on them when it's time to go. Like, hey guys, we can here to have fun, but let's get these layups in. Let's get these shots in. Like, let's lock down on defense, and then we can go ahead and have fun. And she's just been great for us. The stat that really stuck out for me this year was Box Elder. She had more rebounds than she had points, and that really helped push us through and kind of settle down and get grooving again. And that's what really, truly impressed me about her this last tournament was more rebounds than points. She knew that everybody's locked in on her and that she needed to get that ball to her teammates to finish at the rim, and that's what they did. And so I was really proud of her for that.
The Chester Joplin Inverness girls basketball team getting ready for the Class C state tournament here in Missoula at Dahlberg Arena. Their first round opponent, West Yellowstone. We're visiting with the head coach of the Highline Hawks, Jordan Miller, with us on ESPN Missoula. Now, obviously, a lot of things mentally going through the mental prep, getting ready for this Class C state tournament. What have been some of your biggest areas of focus in these last few days leading to the trek towards Missoula?
Yeah, it's been heart-wrenching, trying to get all the information that we possibly can. And, West Yellowstone, they're a great team. There's a reason that they're going to this tournament as well. I have a great staff. My assistant coaches have been doing everything they possibly can, getting scouting reports and huddle film for me. And, we're sitting down at dinner late at night trying to figure out what we can do to be better, what we can do to get this done, put the right people in the right places. They've got some great players there. They got that Aria girl. She plays up in the hit tournament up in here in Havre. And so, we know that there's some kids that can really play ball, and we've got to just be ready with what we can do. So we're hoping to, just be a little bit better, see what comes of it.
You alluded to this a little bit earlier, thinking about the fan links to basketball in the Northern Sea in Great Falls, and that will obviously, I would imagine, apply to the Chester community making the trip to Missoula. How large of a contingent do you expect to see in Zootown when Chester takes the court?
Honestly, Betsy, Chester's fabulous. They've taken me in as my 8th year here. This fan group is they're great. They follow well. They travel well. They want to see their kids succeed. They put a lot into it. And having the boys team there as well, we're super fortunate to kind of get to travel and see both teams, which I think will bring a bigger following. And we're really excited. I think our fans will give us a big boost down there, which is super helpful.
Now, thinking specifically about the venue in Dahlberg Arena is one that is so synonymous with success in women's basketball. Thinking about playing on Robin Selvig Court, obviously the longtime head coach of Lady Grizz basketball, a legendary figure in Montana sports. Does it mean a lot for this group to be able to play in such a venue that is so synonymous with women's basketball?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I grew up going to camps down there. I actually got to play on there when I was playing at Northern, and it's a magical time. And I just try to explain to the girls how awesome the feeling is to play on something so extraordinary. And we actually got to see a Lady Grizz game the second week in January, and the girls just thought it was so cool, and just the atmosphere it brings in. It's just a really cool place to play, and I know they're so excited. And I'm so excited that they get to experience that for themselves.
We'll get to see him in person in a few days' time, Jordan Miller and the Northern Sea champion CJI Girls Hoop Squad from over there at Chester Joplin Inverness, hoping for more success against West Yellowstone on Thursday. And looking at the season that you had, only one loss, 22-1 record, and it was to a team that has surely looked to be another contender at the state tournament, thinking about another co-op in Denton, Geyser, Stanford, and Geraldine, undefeated entering this tournament. Was it good to be able to get a measuring stick at that point in the season against that squad?
Yeah, it was. It helps big time. They're great over there. Bo does a great job with those girls. They're extremely athletic. They're extremely driven, and they're a great group of girls as well. We played them a couple times this summer and then got to play them in the regular season. Was it our best showing? Absolutely not. But I'm hoping that it kind of woke up my girls up and made them more hungry to push forward and to get better. They're great, and we'll look forward to seeing them at this tournament again.
Well, you'll open things up on Thursday against West Yellowstone. You alluded to their skill level a bit earlier. Maybe give us a little bit more of a scouting report and what some are the things that you'll be looking to execute to get yourselves a win in that first round game.
Obviously, I'm going to try to use my heights. It's not very often you do get a Bryn Camerzell, Murray Smale, that 6-foot range, extremely beneficial for us. We are quite a bit taller than West Yellowstone. So I'm hoping to, be able to execute well down low, rebound, and get downhill for sure. But they're extremely well disciplined, well coached. They, like I said, they got that gal Ari. She's played in the hit tournament. I've got to watch her up here. So hats off to her. We gotta shut her down. We gotta work on that. I do have a good little defense that we work really hard on. But at the end of the day, high school girls sometimes are very unpredictable. So I'm just hoping that we show up and we get to work and push through and have some grit behind us.
They'll be looking to get themselves a chance to raise a banner here this weekend at the Class C Girls State Tournament at Dahlberg Arena. The CJI Girls Hoop Squad, the Highline Hawks, with a 22-1 record, the Northern C champions, will be facing off with West Yellowstone in their first game of the tournament on Thursday at Dahlberg Arena. The head coach, Jordan Miller, with us on ESPN Missoula. Coach, good luck here in Zootown this weekend, and I hope you're able to have some Starbucks on the road.
The girls won't let me not. Thanks so much.
Great interview by Jeff Safford. Big Sky Tournament Championship in the books. Idaho going back to the big dance. They win 60-57. Montana State season comes up just short. What a run by the Bobcats. What an even better run by Idaho. That's 29 victories for the Vandals and counting. Hour 1 of the books, hour 2 coming at you. We'll have more reactions from this one. Plus, we'll talk some hoops, Big Sky Conference men's style on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. It's 129 ESPN Radio.
When it comes to your car, don't settle for just any shop. Trust the experts at Spartans Tuning in Missoula. Got a European car like a BMW, Audi, Porsche, or Volkswagen? Spartans Tuning has the expertise to service and repair the cars most shops won't. And if you're a Subaru owner, you're in luck. Spartans Tuning is home to Missoula's most trusted Subaru mechanic, Rico. With over 30 years of experience, Rico is the preferred choice for Subaru repairs in the area. Spartans Tuning, Missoula's AAA approved shop. For more information, visit spartanstuning.com.
Buying a car shouldn't be an adventure, and at Missoula Chevrolet, it's not. Their team isn't paid on commission, so there's no pressure. Just honest help finding the right vehicle for you. You'll get real cash value for your trade, and the price you see, that's the price you pay. No back and forth, no guessing, no trail of fine print, just one low price, plain and simple always. So if you're ready for a smoother ride, on or off the road, head to Missoula Chevrolet and shop hundreds of vehicles in stock. Together, let's drive.
Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers comprehensive yard care services, including lawn mowing, planting, irrigation, landscaping, waterfalls, and hardscaping with a focus on paver patios. Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers customized lawn care programs to revitalize and rejuvenate your lawn to get your landscape beds and gardens ready for the season. Free estimates on sprinkler systems and lawn mowing and yard care services. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com.
I noticed a charge on my Medicare statement for a test I don't remember having.
My doctor said my insurance denied the service and I owe money.
I was in an accident and Medicare denied my claims.
If you need help resolving medical bills where Medicare is involved, call Montana Senior Medicare Patrol. They can help sort things out. Call 800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
It's tournament time. Buzzer beaters, underdog stories, and the best deals at Bob Ward's. Get off the couch and into the game at Montana's oldest sporting goods retailer. Baseball gloves, bats and cleats, soccer balls, shin guards, and training gear. Whether you're cutting down nets or cutting across the outfield, Bob Ward's has the gear you need. Discounts on top name brands across every department. Savings in camping, fishing, and everything outdoors. Don't miss your shot. Shop Bob Ward's, sports and outdoors, Montana style.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Idaho Vandals going back to the NCAA tournament, first time since 2016. Second-year head coach Arthur Moreira. This is the greatest team in school history, if you believe the win total. 29 wins and counting for Idaho. They take an 18-game winning streak into the NCAA tournament. Idaho 60-57 over Montana State. That's your latest update here. The Big Sky Conference Women's Tournament Championship game in the books. Bummer for the Bobcats, but what an effort for Idaho. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Tournament takeover continues. Let's hear from the man. Time for our ESPN Roundtable live from Boise, Idaho. Our tournament takeover and our ESPN Roundtable, probably presented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Stockman Bank in Montana, only in Montana. We plan on keeping it that way. We're in Boise. We actually go back to Missoula to check in with Ryan Tutel because he had a fun idea. We were both watching the Grizz game, and then all of a sudden, the Grizz basketball game, and Montana was able to emerge with a victory over Portland State, despite their best efforts down the stretch to let it slip away, but they did get a win. Now they're into the tournament championship game. We'll get to that in a minute. But Ryan said, he texted me and he says, "You got to call me immediately when you have a break." And I'm sitting here thinking, oh no, something's bad. Something's gone wrong. He said, "You got to turn on the NBA." I was like, why am I turning on the NBA? I'll let you take it from here. Pretty crazy what went down in the association last night.
Well, it is it is not unprecedented, but its precedent has but one other example, and that is Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, everybody knows at this point, right, what happened last night with Bam Adebayo going for 83, and it just feels inconceivable.
Totally.
That anybody, you know, when Kobe did it, it was such an, it doesn't even make sense. Like it doesn't seem genuinely, like it seems like a not possible thing to do. And that's when a guy like Kobe Bryant ascends from legendary status into like Greek god
immortality. Yes.
Immortality. It's Bam Adebayo. That's the dude, and who's a great player. I mean, he's a gold medal winning, you know, multi all-star, you know, level player. But I mean, you wouldn't have him inside your top 10 players in the league today, right now.
Well, that's the most important part of this point. Kobe Bryant is, I think, objectively and unquestionably one of the 15 greatest players ever. And I think you could make an argument he's one of the 10 or 8 or 6 greatest players ever. I mean, if he wasn't in the same position as Michael Jordan, we'd probably think he was the best ever at his position.
Yeah.
I mean he's a 5-time NBA champion. He's a 19-time All-Star. He's first-team All-NBA 11 years in a row. The only guy to ever do it more than him was LeBron James. I mean, you know, you can go on and on. I'm going to look at his Wikipedia page. I mean, it's this long for the amount of, you know, all-star games and scoring titles and all these different things that he did. And again, Bam Adebayo, good player. You know, he's a 3-time all-star. He's been on the all-NBA team once, and it was on the 3rd team. Like, he has never been a first-team all-NBA player. Now he has the 2nd highest scoring game in the history of the National Basketball Association.
And I think, I mean, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this. I know that the Grizzlies are front and center in the run that they're on, which is both completely surprising and not surprising at all. But you just got to say, I mean, if ever there is an example of the new NBA and the new way that basketball is played, this is it. Bam Adebayo's a center, bro. And he launched 22 bombs from beyond the arc, which, by the way, didn't have a great percentage on it when it was all said and done. He made 5 of his first 7, and then I think went 2 for 15 in the rest of the game because he was feeling himself in the first quarter, right? 31 in the first quarter, and then didn't have that going on. But then, he shot over 40 free throws, like 43?
46 free throws, yeah. 46 free throws, 43 points at halftime alone. Yeah, a lot of numbers here.
And, you know, I know that there is some there's stuff about like how I don't think ethics is really the right way to, but basketball ethics, let's put it like that. Is this like okay that a guy is allowed to go and just score and score? And I will say the game ultimately, I think it was like a 15-point game. It wasn't like it was a 30 or 40-point blowout and they left him out there to just keep running it up because he was, you know, trying to set some record. But certainly at the end, they did give him the ball and let him go like, hey, you want to get 80? You want to get 82, 83? Go ahead. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't have any of those hangups. I just think that this is as shocking and amazing and sweet a thing. I watched the full – obviously, I wasn't watching the game because I don't think anyone on earth was watching the game until it started to get – sweet late. But I mean, I didn't even know this had happened till they ran it on the border watching the Grizz game. on the on the ticker tape, and I said, "Oh, they're going to fire whoever miswrote that thing." Is AI really this bad that we're getting Bam Adebayo for 83? So of course I had to go check it out. And then last night I watched the full, the 10-minute extended highlight with the post game and everything like that. And I mean, it's enthralling. It is to watch a moment that is going to live in history forever in that sport or in that arena and in sports in general, and to watch the guy do it, it's just special. And those are the things, like, you just never know when's the next perfect game going to get pitched. It might not be till 2029, but when it happens, you'll remember it, because it's probably not going to be Scooble, right? It's probably going to be some schmo who's the fourth dude in the rotation on the White Sox, but he has that day, right. And
so what's the other pro sports parallel here? Ryan Tutel joining us here on the ESPN Radio. The Big Sky Conference Women's Championship going right now, so we'll give you updates intermittently here on this ESPN Roundtable. But what's the parallel? Like, what's the other freakish sports occurrence like this that is sort of out of the ordinary? I thought of when Kerry Woods struck out 20 for the Cubs. Kerry Woods' career sort of went up, and up in flames is the wrong word. He didn't get to have the longevity that he probably deserved.
Right. It was a lightning strike.
He was so electric, but then he threw out his arm and he just really couldn't get back. Mark Whitten hit the 2 grand slams and had the 15 RBI in one game. That was one of the Mark Whitten's a fine player, but he has the all-time record for RBI in a game. That's pretty crazy.
Who is that? Was that this year? The dude from the A's? Who's the kid for the A's?
That dude tied Mark Whitten's record. Yes. No, that dude from the A's for sure.
Great example of a guy who's I never heard of this guy, and he just had what's being called the greatest offensive single game in the history of baseball.
Right.
How? And I think that the thing that you have to consider is that points is the number one currency of basketball.
Right.
With all the other stats and all the other stuff, at the end of the day, how much did you score?
Totally.
That's the deal. And for Bam, by the way, to really have made his mark in his career on the defensive end, I mean, that's his calling card. It really a two-directional player, but I mean, he's a great defensive player. To come out and do that is crazy. So then when you look over, I don't know enough of hockey history because it can't be Gretzky or McDavid doing it, because that would be, I don't want to say expected, but that's that would be a Steph Curry. You could see Steph Curry just having that. He made 23s in a game.
Right. That's the part where the volume has to be a part of this too, though, right? Because we have seen Steph Curry make 10 or 12 threes in a game, and he gets up around 50, 60, right? Yep. You see Larry Bird where he can't miss, but his career high is still only 63. Like Jordan, where he couldn't miss. His career high is still, I think, 63. 83 is a huge jump from 63. So you have to have so many other things go right too. It's the freebies at the free throw line. It's the fact that he stacked so many points in the first half. Those things all play into getting into that 80 realm.
And I guess, a guy like Steph Curry, even on his very best of days filling it up from the outside, you got to score 35 or 40 points not from the arc to get into this sort of crazy territory. And a guy like Bam, he scored, I mean, I don't know how many dunks he had, probably a half dozen, 8 dunks. So there's, 12, 18 points just hammering it home, and then all the plus ones, and then all the freebies from the line that you get. I mean, it's just crazy. One way that I can think of to try and contextualize this, Monty Williams just had 2 of the best offensive nights. In fact, the best offensive night in his career day before yesterday, and then another exemplary performance last night going for 40 and 32. And I realize college is different, short games, all that. But 2 of the most insane shooting and scoring performances that have happened in the Big Sky this year happened for Monty Williams in back-to-back nights. And combined, he's still 10 points or 11 points short of Bam Adebayo's single game. I mean, that's just insane.
Monty Williams enters tonight's game needing just 11 points to tie Anthony Johnson's all-time tournament record of 83, 12 points to break it. And still, like Anthony Johnson went completely nuclear to lead the Grizz to the NCAA tournament in 2010. He had a 42-point performance against Weber State in the championship game that won an ESPY. I mean, it won a freaking ESPY for performance of the year. Yes. And it's still, that whole tournament is equal to how many points Bam Adebayo scored last night. Pretty wild. Okay, last questions on this, and then we can move on. Ryan Tutel here on the ESPN Roundtable. A lot of haters coming out and saying, well, it was against the Wizards. The Wizards are the worst team in basketball, and they're also not trying to win. Well, it was on a Tuesday night. Well, they were fouling down the stretch to make sure Bam got more touches. Well, he got stacked up at the end where he could get more free throws. And there's a lot of haters saying that this thing was rigged. Is it or not? Does this have an asterisk or not, or should we just let this live?
That is so stupid. It's not because it's not necessarily true in some senses, but there's no such thing as an asterisk when you go out and fill it up for 83 points.
Right.
Period.
Like, who did Will score 100 against? We don't know. He scored 100. We know he scored 100.
And there was a bunch of that, too. By the way, that game has a bunch of, they were fouling. Like, Wilt's team was fouling the other team to stop the clock to ensure more possessions for Wilt. And so that was a box stuffing affair as well. Box score stuffing affair. So, no, I understand why there is pushback where there's like, really, Bam Adebayo had 83. Okay, 43 trips to the line. Like, what are we doing? Is this even basketball? And some of that stuff is valid. None of that gets to come in and say, so this doesn't count or this is somehow minimized. No, it isn't. I mean, he had 31 in the first quarter, dude. I mean, get out of here.
I had seen this because I ran out to get some more coffee, and at the Grove is where the tournament's at, and the ICU arena's inside the Grove. Right. So I went out to get some coffee, because the last game tipped at 9:45 at night. So I need some coffee at 8 p.m. if I'm going to stay up until 2 o'clock in the morning. But anyways, I see on the one of the TV, they had one of the TVs at the hotel bar on the Sports Center, and it would boom, there it is. Bam Adebayo, he has 43 at halftime. I thought the same thing as you. I thought, that's a typo. He had 43 tonight. That's a big game. No, it's halftime. And then we looked it up, and then I come back in, watch the second half of the Grizz game. Sure enough, Bam's going crazy.
Well, and it's so crazy because we were talking about real-time timeline, maybe right before the Grizz game tipped off, but somewhere right around there, what would have on any other night been the biggest news ever, well, not ever, but, of the news cycle, is the rescinded offer for a trade for Max Crosby. I mean, one of the most dominant players in the NFL is now not getting traded because of a physical, and like now what's going on in all the butterfly effect in the NFL and in free agency that has created, and now Trey Hendrickson's going over to Baltimore. But this gets like a pass because we got Grizz hoops on a great postseason run, plus one of the singular performances in all of sports history, man. Like, that's what that was last night for Bam Adebayo. It is a singular performance in the entire arena of sports, regardless of sport. And, I mean, you just got to sit here and just go, tip of the cap, bro. I mean, there's nothing to say.
I thought of another parallel.
Yeah, okay, good.
When David Duval shot a 59. David Duval is a very good golfer, and at one point he was the number one golfer in golf.
Right.
But he couldn't handle the pressure of Tiger. And like when he and Tiger had their one moment that 1 year where they were like 1A and 1B, and then Tiger just ripped his head off for an entire season, and Duval just like faded into nothing and was never good again. But at that peak, though, I mean, when he shot that 59.
By the way, the Duval life/golf story is a great story to follow. And there's so much there, but you're right. But some of those 50, that's a great example, like getting into like breaking 60 in golf, because the players who have done it on the PGA Tour, and it's only been done like the same thing as perfect game. I mean, I want to say like 15 times or something like that. Half of those dudes, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, sure. The other half, never heard of them. Went out there and blitzed a 59. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that's you get hot on that day, and that's crazy. So that's a great example going to golf.
ESPN Roundtable probably presented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Idaho going back to the NCAA tournament. They're cutting down the nets right here at Idaho Central Arena. The Vandal women, first time in the big dance since 2016. They defeat Montana State 60-57. 29 wins and counting for Idaho. They take an 18-game winning streak into the big dance. Listen to Nuanez Now, tonight, ESPN Radio. More with Brian Tutel. Well, we mentioned Max Crosby. Here's something really interesting. I have been in an NFL locker room one time in my life. It was last August at the Raiders, San Francisco 49ers preseason game. And, you're trying to be a professional. I'm sitting there waiting on Tommy Millott for an interview. Well, you're looking around, you're like, well, it's Max Crosby, like standing right next to you. Like, that's okay. But when I was standing there, I was, I'm looking at him, and I couldn't believe how thin and small he looked. And then he had this year last year where he struggled with injuries mightily for the second year in a row. And then he signs with Baltimore, and then they rescind the offer because of a failed physical. So I wonder if those things are all tied together. Because, I wonder if they didn't really release, but they said maybe a knee that was his health problems. But I think he
had meniscus surgery 5 weeks ago. And he is according to the doctors and everything, he's on pace of where he's supposed to be. But he's on crutches, and he's got a big knee brace. And so, when you hear fails a physical, it's not like you and me going in to get ready for softball season and they're going to, do a couple checks on us. Like, this is full body scan MRI, looking at everything. And from what I've heard, this is about a projection forward of durability. It's not even about this season or necessarily specifically the knee. But I do think that, oddly enough, I will be very surprised if in 2 years Max Crosby is at half of his productivity level. Because he's the guy, right? He's like kind of a Westbrook figure. He just goes so hard. And in a sport where everybody goes hard, he goes the hardest. And even though you're the guy kind of dishing it out, man, every play you're out there is such a war and such a physical battle. And you're right. You look at Myles Garrett and you go, oh yeah, well, he can do this forever. And you look at Max Crosby and you go, man, it's a lot of tattoos. But and he's got a big frame for sure. But I mean, he's a 4th round pick. Nobody thought he's going to be the one edge rusher in the league. I mean, come on. Yeah. And so, and he's, like a Micah Parsons, right? The same trade that the Packers made was effectively the one that Baltimore is going to make. Yeah. But Parsons is like 3 or 4 years younger than Max Crosby. And who doesn't love Max Crosby, dude? But I am certainly concerned that he is, that clock is really ticking for him. Now, whether or not, I'm not saying anything that Baltimore shouldn't have known before they made the trade in the first place. So I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses for them, because there's a lot of teams that are pissed off at the Ravens right now for doing that and think that it's shenanigans and BS and all of that. But I'm just saying, I can see where you are paying the premium of premiums for a guy who may not be able to physically do it in sooner rather than later, This been Roundtable probably presented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Stockman Bank in Montana, only in Montana, and they plan on keeping it that way. Let Stockman Bank show you Montana's brand of banking. I think sometimes, too, we've gotten spoiled by the longevity of athletes lately, because there has been so many case studies of these guys that are doing it at a crazy high level well into their 30s. But
I mean, for every Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, and even like Bobby Wagner, there's the guys that, like, it's done. You're done when you're 30. Like, it's
Luke Kuechly.
You don't have the juice, man. Like Calvin Johnson, he wanted to walk away. Barry Sanders, like, there's guys, a lot of guys that made the choice to do it before they break down.
You can't just pick only Lions. You got to find somewhere else, because we know there's other reasons there.
Sure, totally. But you know what I'm saying? But there is guys that they just hit this ceiling and then they could never really overcome it. And, it's why the salary cap sport combined with the brutality of the NFL, it's such a delicate dance. And it's why a guy like John Schneider, for example, with the Seahawks, has been so valuable, and why they've been able to build a Super Bowl champion, dismantle a Super Bowl champion, build from the ground up and build another one, because he's so good at this game we're talking about.
Right.
But it's a decision that you have to make, right? Like, the Bengals have taken a ton of heat for not re-signing Trey Hendrickson. And on one hand, you think, well, you stink on defense. Why wouldn't you have your best guy come back? This guy's the only guy that's been producing for you at all during the Joe Burrow era. Why not bring him back? But on the other hand, you think to yourself, okay, Trey Hendrickson's had 15 sacks 4 times in the last 5 years. Is he going to do that again? Like, is he going to have 4 more 15-sack seasons in the next 5 years? I don't know. And a lot of times the safer and even some would say smarter gamble is to not re-sign that guy. What do you think of him going to Baltimore?
Well, I think it's good for everybody, because Baltimore obviously needed a pass rusher in the worst way. I mean, they were one of the worst teams in the league in getting after the quarterback. And they had a slew of injuries defensively, but nonetheless, that is a very un-Ravens-like stat, to be bad at defense, frankly, in the middle half or even middle 2/3 of the season. They were just flat not good. And again, that was a lot of attrition, but you got to be better than that. And also then just flat out not getting after the quarterback. So it's great for them. For the Bengals, this is so much more about Trey Hendrickson hating the Bengals. Like, he is so over it in Cincinnati. I heard that, if they franchised him, for instance, which they had the capability to do, that he was going to burn it to the ground.
No, yeah.
So you got to move that guy and get the value that you can get for him. And so I think it's a win all the way around. But the Bengals obviously have so much work to do to make their high-end talent. I mean, I feel like they've put, gold rims and a turbo boost on a jalopy, and it's like, you got to have some substance to go with. I won't call it flash. I mean, I love Joe Burrow. I think he's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. And obviously Jamar Chase is a top 5, if not top 2, depending on the day, wide receiver. And they can do it a lot of ways offensively. I mean, they got a lot of Chase Brown, same thing. They've got dudes, but you don't have an offensive line. It was better this year than it was 2 years ago, but it's still not great. And your quarterback's constantly getting hurt. And then you have a defense that just doesn't exist. I mean, it's not great. So they got to figure that out. And Baltimore, they're obviously understanding, like, our time with Lamar is also somewhat limited, and he's now had more injuries that have clearly slowed him up. And even when he's been on the field, he has been a step or 2 behind himself of what he normally is. And so it's like, hey, if we can get another couple seasons with Lamar being the Lamar Jackson that we've all come to know and just be amazed by, we got to push all our chips into the middle right now for this guy and this team. So that's what they're trying to do.
Hi, this is Johnny with Last Best Golf Company. I started my shop in my garage with one goal in mind: to deliver tour quality club fittings and precision builds to golfers across Western Montana. We have now outgrown the garage, and we are now located at 517 South Orange Street in Missoula. Spring is right around the corner, and now is the time to book your equipment consultation and make 2026 your best season yet. Visit us at our new shop on Orange Street or check out lastbestgolfco.com. At Last Best Golf Co., we don't just sell off-the-rack golf clubs, we build pure performance, custom fit for you.
Looking for an education that builds strong minds and strong character? At Valley Christian School, we grow academically, socially, and spiritually every day.
At Valley Christian School, we compete with heart.
We lead with faith.
And we play for something bigger than ourselves. Valley Christian School, home of the Eagles.
Learn more about Valley Christian School or schedule a tour at valleychristian.org. Valley Christian School, home of the Eagles, driven by faith, united in purpose, one mission for His glory.
Bees buzzing, flowers blooming, snow melting, and spring cleaning or updating? Liberty Electric is here for any and all of your electrical needs, no matter the season. Whether you're looking to upgrade your air conditioner for the summer, invest in a backup generator for those powerless nights due to storms, or need that lighting upgraded to LED, the professionals at Liberty Electric are ready to offer their services. Call 406-541-WIRE. That's 406-541-9473.
The wait is over. Grizzly Disposal is now offering no sort recycling. No more sorting and dragging it across town. They'll get it right from your house. Cans, cardboard, and plastic all in one bin. Handled by Grizzly Disposal. Visit grizzlydisposal.com to add on recycling to your plan or to switch over to Grizzly Disposal today. Give them a call, 541-7171. That's 541-7171. The best trash removal service in town just got better. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage.
Hey, it's Colter Nuanez from your favorite daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now, and I want to buy you a meal on your birthday at Paradise Falls. If it's your birthday, head on over to Paradise Falls at 3621 Brook Street, and I will buy you a birthday entree. All you have to do is go into the family-friendly Missoula favorite, present your ID, and the entree is on me. Birthday meals courtesy of Nuanez Now at Paradise Falls, a family-friendly restaurant serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If it's your birthday, head over to Paradise Falls, Missoula's coolest hotspot.
Missoula Police Department and Missoula Parks and Recreation are reminding the public that most of Mount Jumbo remains closed to recreational use during the winter months. The majority of this 1,600-acre mountain is closed until March 15th, with the northern 650 acres closed until May 1st to protect the resident elk herd and other wildlife. Partners who manage the Mount Jumbo Wildlife Management Area appreciate the community's cooperation to protect Mount Jumbo's wildlife and preserve a unique Missoula amenity. Details at missoulaparks.org.
This is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Sorry, ESPN Roundtable. Ryan Tutel joining us as we are broadcasting to you live from Boise, Idaho. Montana State, Idaho in the midst of it right now. We'll give you updates as we can. So what if Lamar Jackson is just a step slow now? Like we're talking about guys that, I just wonder, you can lose multiple steps as a quarterback if you operate in a certain fashion. And we've seen guys, Aaron Rodgers lost multiple steps and was still good to great until all of a sudden he really couldn't move in the pocket at all, and then he was really bad. But Jackson, being a step and a half faster than everybody, has been the thing that makes him what he is. If he isn't that, is Baltimore in trouble? Are they doomed to a life of mediocrity now that they signed him to his big contract?
I don't think so. Obviously, Lamar, to be the superhero, needs to be the Flash that he's been. And if he isn't that changes things considerably. But at some point, you're not going to be that, because that's what time is, and that's what aging is. That doesn't mean, though, that he's still not one of the best athletes on the field, even if he's not the singularly best athlete on the field. And what you would hope is that in the course of his, 8-9 years now in the league, whatever it's been, he's been a quarterback for quite a while, that he has learned, and I think he's proven this to everybody, that he knows how to be a quarterback, where to go with the football, how to get it there. He's got even though he's got a very atypical delivery, and I think that was something that scared a lot of teams when he was coming in the draft, this weird, can it be accurate? Can it be repeated? Well, clearly he's proven that it not only can be, he's refined it, and he can throw the football with about the best of them. Just unbelievable. So for me, it's kind of like a Vince Carter situation, right? Young Vince Carter was the best athlete in a league of the best athletes on earth. And he's winning dunk contests. We all know about that, but also the way he played, just the explosion, the going to the hoop, the dunking over 7-footers in the Olympics, all of that. But that's not why he played 17 years. He played 17 years because he learned how to shoot a three. And then when he couldn't rise up over people or even meet people at the rim, he was still wildly effective because he was a savvy vet who knew what to do. And those are the growing portions of becoming having a great long career, of being able to play the sport mentally better than your opponent, even when physically you're not where you once were. And I do think that Lamar Jackson is going to be back to his normal self like this season. But I do think the ability or the likelihood of another injury that does compromise him, even if he can go out there and play, is higher. And that's just the nature of it. Like, your body just gets beat up over time playing in the NFL, man. And that's the reality of it. But he can still be an effective quarterback, even without that stuff. But the Ravens aren't really looking for an effective quarterback, right? They're looking for the MVP. They're looking for Lamar Jackson to be who he is. And, that is sort of an open question. But he can still deal for a very long time.
Fair or foul? I heard this from a guy who covers the NBA for The Ringer, but I'm stealing it right now because all the best ideas are stolen. Fair or foul? Lamar Jackson. Foul. Lamar Jackson is the James Harden of the NFL.
I think that's
hard to guard during the regular season. Wins the MVP more than once. Can't get it done in the playoffs.
Basketball is a team game comprised of individuals playing an individual game very often.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly in the postseason, what do we always talk about? Shortening up the bench, right? Like, you got to let your dudes be your dudes. I've never seen a player of James Harden's caliber be worse in the biggest moments than he has been. Lamar Jackson has a couple very regrettable performances in the postseason, admittedly. They're his first two ever playoff games. He's played a couple really good playoff games.
Yeah.
And he's a winner, by the way. He has won a game in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, just didn't get it done. I mean, they had it. They lost to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. And everybody will say, well, and it was in Baltimore, this, that, and the third. Okay. Lamar Jackson didn't lose that game.
Mahomes won it. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so,
well, and that's the other part that colors this is the fact that Jackson's not the only one of his peers that have been stuck in this situation, right? Like, Josh Allen is the only guy that has even come close to rivaling Mahomes, and he still only has 2 or 3 playoff wins. Like, he's had some devastating losses.
The other guy would be Joe Burrow. I mean,
Burrow's the one dude who actually went to Arrowhead and won, right? The one time.
Multiple times. Once in the playoffs.
Totally. Well, like, all the guys in the AFC, Lamar Jackson through Josh Allen to Justin Herbert, everybody included, they all have to have some modicum of regret for what happened this year, because you let Drake May run through the AFC and make it to the Super Bowl. And Drake May is a good player, man. But, like, this was the year where Mahomes was hurt and Lamar was hurt, and like there was all this opportunity. So I agree with you. I think it's foul. I don't think that I'm a Lamar Jackson fan, and I think that you can't get it done. The thing you also got to remember with Lamar, he's still only 28 years old. Like, he's been in the NFL forever, but he got into the NFL when he was 20. So like he has tons more room to grow, and we'll see how it goes now with the new coaching regime there in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. Okay, so back to here in Boise. This is ironic. I was really thinking about this morning. I know that Grizz fans, and there's a lot of them, and they're passionate and they're great. But like, I was getting so many texts and social media was going crazy last night when the Grizz went up 19 and then Portland State started chipping away, and everybody's doing oh my God, the Grizz always blow the lead. And I was thinking about this though. The reason the Grizz are into the championship game for the 7th time in the last 10 years under Travis DeCuire is also the reason where it seems like they're letting games slip away. Because for better and worse, he puts his clamps on a game and then micromanages it to ensure his team is going to win. So even though they did blow a 19-point lead and only win by 3, there was no chance they were ever going to lose it because of him controlling it. I think it's hard for people to reconcile because it is frustrating to watch. And you're like, why don't you just beat this team by 30 and run them out of the gym? But it's also why in these tournament situations, when you need to win 3 games in 3 days on a neutral court, who's the guy that's coaching in the championship game every single freaking Wednesday night, every single year in Boise? It's the same guy. It's Travis DeCuire, and it's because he knows what he's doing. He's the winningest coach in the history of the school for a reason. Well,
You're totally right, and this is Travis DeCuire time right here, man. Him and that staff, and I gotta say too, man. Like if you'd have told me Travis DeCuire was going to be here 12 years.
All right, I was thinking about this. So how about the fact that Wayne Tinkle left 12 years ago, and Wayne Tinkle and Travis DeCuire never moved again? Like 12 years ago, if you would have told me that, I would have said none of that scenario is impossible for either of those two guys.
No chance. But also then the fact that he has retained and kept Chris Cobb this entire run, the whole time, who's in effect also co-head coach, and totally, and then
could be a top 5 head coach in the league immediately. Cobb could.
Absolutely, and then Jay Flores, who's been there since maybe the second year.
This is year 10 for Jay Flo. Yep. So they bring Rashi back. Rashi Wortham. He's been here for half of it at least.
I think it's the whole, the group just knows how to do it this time of year, and you get in and you get that 4 seed, and you don't have to play a 4th game. That's obviously a huge deal, and then you just make it happen. And it's funny because in this particular season, the big frustration or complaint about the Grizzlies is the wild inconsistency, and they have played and have been the best team in the conference at times, and they have been bottom third at other times, and not just. I listened to your conversation with Coach DeCuire, and this is always a huge part of the Big Sky, but the travel and the quote unquote scheduled losses, where you're just not going to NAU. And winning coming off of a particular back-to-back or something like that.
To back up these statistical realities, right? The Big Sky Conference champion, like the team that won the regular season, has lost in Flagstaff 9 out of the last 10 years. Only one time in the last 10 years did a team sweep the Idaho Eastern Washington road trip that won in the league championship, and only one time did a team sweep the Montana State road trip to then go on to win the championship. So basically, you're going to lose at either Flag or Missoula or Moscow, whatever is your second leg of the trip on those trips, almost always just because of the travel.
And so another way to say that is that everybody in the Big Sky is inconsistent in some sense, right? In a wins and loss sense. But Montana has been that to a much higher degree this season than it's not just, had a tough loss. It's got blown out at Northern Colorado by 30.
Right. Got destroyed, no-showed at Weber State after losing at Idaho State. And you're like, what is going on?
Totally.
How much is this, though, be resurgence because the guy that they need to be the man has been the man the last 2 nights?
But this is my exact point. The reason that they have had so much inconsistency is because they are so heavily invested in the usage of one player, and that's Money Williams. And when he has been great, they've been great. And when he has had more turnovers than he has had assists, they've been awful. And, this is a team, historically, the Grizzlies, that have been a true team. There's been a lot of guys that on any given night might show up and be the guy, and there's a lot of ways to hurt you and different ways to play ball. And I don't know that I can recall a Travis DeCuire team that had a single dude who was the star, and we are working through him and everybody else comes off it and we go the way that he goes. But in the tournament, it's a great thing to have, right? So the regular season, any given night, it's kind of a coin flip if you're going to get a mediocre, good, or great version of Money Williams. But in the tournament, you need to have a guy who just knows that, hey, he can get his whenever he wants, and he has. And that's why the Grizzlies have been so good. And also, it's not surprising that Montana has given up leads in the second half. By the way, this isn't a Montana thing. This is a damn near every school thing.
This is a basketball thing.
This is a basketball thing, man.
Listen, I have a group text with a bunch of Grizz fans, one of whom is Kyle Sample, who has great basketball acumen. Several of the other guys are always like, I can't believe how much the Grizz blow leads. They're always belting down. And Sample always reminds them, guys, do you watch basketball? This is what happens. Like in the NBA, it happens every single freaking night. A team gets a 19-point lead, and then all of a sudden it's down to 6, and it's a 2-possession game, because that's basketball.
That's basketball. And especially when it wasn't so much with Northern Colorado, because that's a 4-5 game, but, Portland State's the number 1 seed for a reason. They've been a very good team. And so when you have a big lead, like a 17-point lead, like the Grizz had at halftime, or maybe it was 15, you can just expect, like, hey, man, there's a comeback coming. Like, these guys aren't good. I texted you at half. I think it was whatever it was, 37-22 or something like that. It's like, Portland State is not scoring 20 points in the second half.
Right.
That's not happening. They're going for broke, and they're going to fill it up. And that's not because, Montana started to get tentative. That's just the reality of it. And that's exactly what happened. So give the Grizz credit, though. I mean, they scored 95 points. Coulter, and that's against Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado had won 10 of 11 coming into that game and hadn't given up more than 80.
Totally.
That whole stretch. And Montana blew them out. And again, that's what happens when money goes for 40.
Tournament takeover, ESPN Roundtable, represented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Ryan Tutel joining us. Okay, last point here. I think that if the Grizz can get it done tonight, by the way, pray for us, 9:45 p.m. tip-off by the time we get around to this thing this evening. But, hey, whatever. We'll figure it out. But
it's at dawn on the East Coast.
But I think if the Grizz can – if Money Williams – does what he can do, and the Grizz can figure out a way to win tonight, I do think this is redemption for the tournament that got canceled when you and I were here in Boise in 2020. Because that was the year, too, where the Grizz had said they'd been sort of middling, and then they had figured out a way to get a little bit of momentum, and they were the 3 seed that year, but they knew they had the best player. And we had talked to Coach Trav, and he had said, hey, guys, all we got to do is get to Boise. We get to Boise, we're going to put the ball in Zaid Pridgett's hands and stop us. He can beat everybody, and he's going to. And then they didn't get a chance to do that. Well, this year it's the same deal. Put the ball in Money Williams' hands, get it out of the way, and it is the one example, because you're right. Most of the time, Coach DeCuire's best teams have been like last year's team, where they have 5 or 6 guys in double figures every night, but nobody scores more than 17 or 18 points. Right. They're a team-oriented, move the ball, pass it, all that stuff. This is a unique style for a Coach DeCuire coach team, but this could be his redemptive tour. And how cool would that be for him to get back to the big dance for the second year in a row and have that be the second time he's done that in the pre-COVID era and the post-COVID era? He's one of the only coaches in college basketball that has proven he could do that. Go to the big dance the old way and the new way. That would be pretty darn impressive, especially if he did it with a guy that they had to hang on to dear life for with money to keep him in Missoula. But they've done it, and now he's got him on the break.
Well, 2 things. If they do get in and they face Michigan, Travis DeCuire is going to go absolutely bonkers. he's going to go straight to the committee office.
Drive to the committee office and burn it to the ground.
But the other thing, another coaching decision that I think has proven to be tremendous, and that is the insertion of Brooklyn Hicks into the starting lineup here late in the season. And he went 4 for 4 from beyond the arc in the game last night against Portland State. And obviously having made threes is a huge deal, but to do it efficiently, I mean, Money Williams also made 4 threes, but I think he was 4 of 9. Now he's going to get his shots up, right? Like that's just part of it. So you 4 of 9 ain't a terrible night by any stretch. I mean, that's 40% from beyond the arc is good. But to have him out there as a scoring threat and as a shooting threat, and to force the defense to spread a little bit and then give Money Williams maybe a little bit more room to operate and work his way into the interior and do all that kind of stuff. I mean, you've got a guy like Sawyer who's a known commodity, and he's probably the next biggest weapon on this team offensively. But I think that little maneuver there and paying off too, like Hicks has been like ready to go, and he has performed with his opportunity. And, I think that those are the sorts of things that, hey, is that the 5-point swing that gave you a 3-point win? Maybe it is. And everybody's going to look at 32 from Money Williams as well. They should, but getting 16 points and 4 of 4 from beyond the arc from a guy who wasn't even starting a month ago is major contribution this time of year. So we'll see if they can keep it going. I mean, going against the Idaho Vandals is there's certain bit of poetry to this run right now, right? Where they go and they beat a Northern Colorado team who they had lost to by over 30 in the previous game they played. They come back, they get it done, they exercise that demon. Then they go against the best team in the conference, the number 1 seed, and they beat them. And then now you get, one of the rivals, right? The Idaho Vandals. So it's a great time of year, obviously, and it's a thrill that they're in this position again and again. I mean, you can't do anything here except for pay your complete respects and admiration to Travis DeCure and that coaching staff who just know how to do it here when it matters. This is when it matters, man. Like, that's just the reality. You got to get into those top 4 or 5 seeds, and then you have to be at your best. And they find a way to do that year in and year out. And it's Grizz Nation should just be tremendously grateful that Travis DeCure's been here a dozen years, man. That's what I think.
Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. More on the other side with reactions from the women's championship game, as well as a few more thoughts on what might go down tonight in the men's championship game. Ryan Tutel joining us here on the ESPN Roundtable, probably presented by Stockman Bank of Montana. Stockman Bank, Montana's brand of banking. Thanks for being here, buddy. Good to see you.
You got it, man. Thank you.
Spartan's Tuning is Missoula's most trusted truck and auto repair shop, servicing foreign and domestic makes and models. But that's not all. Spartan's Tuning is equipped with cutting-edge ADAS calibration technology, making sure your car's advanced driver assist systems like lane assist and automatic braking are in top shape. And with AAA approval, Spartan Tuning is Missoula's most go-to shop for quality, reliable service you can trust. Visit SpartansTuning.com for more info or call 406-728-4081.
Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers comprehensive yard care services, including lawn mowing, planting, irrigation, landscaping, waterfalls, and hardscaping with a focus on paver patios. Black Mountain Lawn and Landscaping offers customized lawn care programs to revitalize and rejuvenate your lawn to get your landscape beds and gardens ready for the season. Free estimates on sprinkler systems and lawn mowing and yard care services. Visit blackmountainlandscaping.com, call 406-529-0793, or email dave@blackmountainlawns.com.
Buying a car shouldn't be an adventure, and at Missoula Chevrolet, it's not. Their team isn't paid on commission, so there's no pressure. Just honest help finding the right vehicle for you. You'll get real cash value for your trade, and the price you see, that's the price you pay. No back and forth, no guessing, no trail of fine print, just one low price, plain and simple always. So if you're ready for a smoother ride, on or off the road, head to Missoula Chevrolet and shop hundreds of vehicles in stock. Together, let's drive.
Senior Medicare Patrols empower and assist Medicare beneficiaries, their families, and caregivers to prevent, detect, and report healthcare fraud, errors, and abuse through outreach and education. In Montana, Senior Medicare Patrol is operated by Missoula Aging Services in cooperation with area agencies on aging across Montana. To contact your closest office, call 800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
Cold weather cravings? The Montana Club has got you covered with scratch-made comfort food to match every craving. From perfectly grilled steaks to satisfying salads, they're ready to handle your hunger. So grab a table with a reservation or keep it casual and order delivery straight to your door. Great food made easy. Visit MontanaClub.com to order or reserve and come warm up at your Montana Club. Brooks and North Reserve, Missoula.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
Well, welcome back, and we're already out of time. But appreciate the guys from behind the glass for producing us, and also thanks to you for listening in. By tomorrow's show, we'll have Big Sky Conference champions on both sides. Congratulations to the Idaho women for their ability to outlast the Montana State women 60-57 in the Big Sky Tournament Championship game here in Boise. Grizz play late night, 9:45 against Idaho. We'll have a full recap for you tomorrow. In the meantime, have yourself a wonderful Wednesday evening and be good. We'll see you then. Nuanez Now, ESPN Radio. The Press Box is the place to watch all your favorite sports. In the heart of Grizz Country, Press Box has great food and drinks with happy hour and lunch specials every weekday. Don't forget, Press Box has the best happy hour deal in town, Monday through Friday, between 4 and 6, $3 draft beers. That's right, any draft beer at the Press Box, from domestic light beers to IPAs to everything in between, $3 drafts between 4 and 6, Monday through Friday at the Press Box. Press Box also has 2 sports bet machines, so you can always get your bets in before the game starts. The Press Box on Broadway and Van Buren in Missoula.
At Valley Christian School, we're taught to compete with integrity, respect, and character. Whether it's in the classroom or the game, we're preparing for life, not just the next season.
Valley Christian School is proud to represent Class C athletics. We may be a small school, but we play with big heart, strong faith, and Eagle spirit.
Learn more about Valley Christian School or schedule a tour at valleychristian.org. Valley Christian School, home of the Eagles, driven by faith, united in purpose, one mission for His glory.
Are you paying too much for your trash removal? If you're paying over $34 per month for trash and over $25 per month for recycling, you are paying too much. Grizzly Disposal offers reliable and affordable trash and recycling collection with the best customer service in town. It's easy to change. Just call 406-541-7171 or visit grizzlydisposal.com. Right now, when everything is overpriced, trash and recycling shouldn't be. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage and recycling.
Over 20 years ago, Farmer State Bank pledged to fund a $10,000 scholarship in each community where we're located. We've grown, and that promise has grown with us. This year, Farmer State Bank will award 9 $10,000